Hey guys, so this week I've been playing the incredibly violent, crazily epic God of War 3 for the PS2, and I gotta say it's probably one of the more intense, sort of gritty, tearing people's heads off games. It's one of the more violent video games I've seen in a long time. So you probably want to hear if it's any good. I mean, sure, it's got all the decapitation and evisceration and disembowelment, but how good is it really? Well, here's my opinion of God of War 3.
The God of War games are always very steeped in Greek mythology. That's why the plot is kind of complicated to explain in just this quick few seconds. So I'll just say, you're this guy, and you want to kill Zeus, and you will kill every MFer that gets in your way. The game really just throws you right into it. You start out riding on the back of a Titan, climbing Mount Olympus, trying to get your vengeance against Zeus. The first 30 minutes of the game are just this epic battle where you're riding on this Titan and you're overpowered and you got all these cool magic abilities and you're fighting through all these guys just trying to get to Mount Olympus and trying to defeat Zeus. Unfortunately, Kratos can't be the unstoppable badass forever. Kratos is betrayed by the Titans and sent down to Hades, where he has to fight his way back out so he can complete his mission of vengeance. And this is where the game really starts to hit its strides. You go to all kinds of crazy places and meet new and interesting people and kill them and take their weapons. The game really just has everything you expect in a God of War game. You fight waves and waves of bad guys and cut them to pieces in new and interesting ways. You have some pretty wild times with Aphrodite, which I can't, for obvious reasons, show you on this video. You solve little puzzles, but they're, obviously interesting puzzles because they often involve explosions or dead bodies. Although there is one puzzle that feels less like God of War and more like Guitar Hero Athens Edition.
Thank you, Athens. Good night.
I don't really think you can talk about God of War without mentioning the fact of how just visceral and violent it is. It really borders on just comic violence, just how violent and gory this game really is. But obviously that's what you should be expecting when you get into any God of War game. I've never really been one of these people that think violent video games causes people to be violent.
And I'll kill anyone who says otherwise.
But the violence is just so over the top, it's just so funny and so much fun to play. The only real gripes I have about the game is sort of its length. Not that it's too long or too short, but just kind of, I always feel like I'm always going back to the same places. I'm going here, then I have to go back, then I have to go here, then I have to go back, and then I have to go here, and I have to go back. And the character of Kratos is always supposed to be this, unapologetic monster, killer, murderer guy, but it feels like that kind of changes abruptly for no reason. When he first meets Pandora, he's all like, screw you, I'm not gonna save you. But then suddenly when he gets told he has to save her, he's like, no, don't die! But despite all that, the game's a lot of fun. There's decapitation, there's blood, guts, violence, and titties. What else do you want in a video game?
So there you have it. God of War 3 clearly doesn't disappoint if you're looking for a game with lots of blood and violence and occasional titties and sex mini game with Aphrodite. Then it's certainly what you're expecting. I don't know if it's all that great. I mean, it does feel like, it's long. It certainly is very long, and you'll get a lot of play out of it. But it kind of feels like a little too, I don't want to say too long, but it kind of feels too long. So, no, not that it's like, God, I wish this was over, but kind of like, really? I got to go all the way back down to Hades to get this one thing? Couldn't have got, but that's kind of how these games work, I think. But anyways, it's a pretty fun game. It's certainly worth a rental, but maybe you'll really enjoy it. So, go get it, I guess.